Hello, in this short video I'm going to show you about lookup tables using the Excel function VLOOKUP. And the idea of VLOOKUP is you can look at a value and then go and look up that value in a table and pull back another number or a piece of text. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these values here, they're supposed to be staff code numbers, to pull across names into here. And then here with savings, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the amount of the savings, look up that on a table on another sheet, and pull back the interest or pull back the percentage, and then multiply it by the savings to get how much interest would be earned. I'll just show you where those lookup tables are. I've put them on a second sheet here. So here's the first lookup table. These are the staff numbers, and here's the names that correspond with them. You can see here that the numbers are in ascending order. They're lowest at the top and then they get bigger as they go down. When you make lookup tables and you're looking up from this first column, the numbers must be in ascending order. Here's the other table we're going to use. So we're going to be looking down this column trying to find a match, and then when we find a match we're going to pull back information from this second column here. Right, in order for this to work, these tables have got to have names. So I'm going to select the first table, and I'm going to give it a name of, what can I call it? I'll just call it names. And press enter. And then I'm going to select this table. And in the name box up here, I'm going to call this percents. And press enter. So you can see now in this little drop down menu, we've got names and we've got percents. I've just named those two areas. So when we use the word names or percents, it'll know that we're referring to these areas. Right, let's go back to sheet 1. So the first lookup I'm going to do is this. I'm going to look up a name based on a code number. Now these code numbers aren't in any particular order. So when you use VLOOKUP, it starts off with equals and then VLOOKUP. Did I spell it correctly? Look up. Open brackets, then we're going to put in 4 arguments. The first argument is the cell address of the value that we're going to be looking up, in this case 105, comma, then the name of the lookup table we're going to look up from, in this case it was called names, comma, and then the column index number. This is the number of the column we're going to pull the data back from. If you remember, it was in the second column, the names, so we're going to use 2 to mean the second column. These lookup tables can have more than 2 columns. They can have as many columns as you like, and you'd put a number that corresponded to the column that you wanted to pull the data back from here. Comma, the fourth argument is either the word true or the word false, depending on if you want an approximate match or an exact match. Now in this case we want an exact match, so I'm going to type in the word false. In the next example I'll show you why you'd use an approximate match. And press enter. And you can see it's looking up the person's name. S. Sims corresponds to code 105. If I copy that down, you can see each one corresponds to the code number that it comes from. Look, so 101 P. Taran. If I go to the lookup table, you can see 101, look, that was P. Taran, so it's pulled across the right data. What I'm going to do here now is do another VLOOKUP, but this time for an approximate match. And what I want to do is I want to look up the percentage that corresponds to the value of the amount of savings. Use this percentage over here, and I'm going to multiply it by the amount of savings themselves to show the interest. So to do this, again, it's equals VLOOKUP, open bracket. The first argument is the cell that contains the value we want to look up, in this case cell C2, which contains the value of 450. Comma, then the name of the lookup table we're looking up the values from, and I call this percents. Spell it correctly. Now the index column number, again, the value we're going to pull back is in the second column, so I'm going to use 2 again. Comma, and then is it approximate or exact? Well, it's going to be approximate. I'm going to type in the word true and close the bracket like that and press enter. And in fact I need to format that as a percentage and then copy that down. So at the moment I'm just pulling across the percentages, and I just want to show you first of all, before I'm going to edit this formula, why it's an approximate match. Let's look at the value 23 for example, and it's pulling across 1%. So if you go and have a look, it'll try and match with that. No, it goes to the next one, 1%. Let's try the next one. Oh, it's 50 is too big because we're looking at the value 23. So it goes back to the previous one. That's the nearest approximate match, and it pulls back that 1%. Let's look at another one. Here we've got 4%, and the value is 780. So it would go down. 780, no bigger, no bigger, no bigger, no bigger, no bigger, no bigger. Oh, too big. Come back to that one. So it pulls back the 4%. Okay, now I've got these values across. What I can do is I can add to the formula. So what I can do, this percentage, I can multiply it by the original value. The value here is in cell C2, and press enter. And it's not a percentage anymore, it's an amount of money, so I'll format it like that. And I'll copy that down over the other ones. And you can see what it's doing is it's taking the value, it's trying to find a match down here. If it doesn't find an exact match, it comes back to the one below it. Then it pulls across the value from the second column, in this case 4%. And it's multiplying that 4% by 450, and the answer is £13.50. You can see it's working here, look, because the value is £19. So it starts to look down here. Next one, too big, comes back to that. That's 0. So 0 multiplied by 19 is 0, and that's why there's nothing in there, no interest. Okay, that's the end of this little video tutorial about VLOOKUP, lookup tables. Thank you very much for listening.